Good morning, everyone. This is the Vermont House Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. Again, it's Thursday, January 8th, 2026 at 9:31 in the morning. We're back from a short break. And so now we're here to receive the report of the sister state task force that been looking into this. And we have Tim Tierney with us from the Agency of Commerce. So, Tim, good to see you again.
Good to see everybody. Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so well, thank you for having me here today to talk about which, by the way, I want to say that this working group, I just want to say this right out first, was like one of the most enjoyable things I've done as a state employee and working and collaborating. It was such a thoughtful, thorough group that were really committed to doing a really great job. And I know other people said the same, like, wow, this was people, it wasn't like just two people showing up for meetings. It was almost, it was full almost every time, and people talking and basically collaborating and working together. So I think we've done a really great job of really looking at what the sister state program could be, and also looking at what it was and what it is, and then looking around the country at what other people do as examples to actually put together a really quality program if we ever decide to have a program. I also want to introduce someone here. I have Nathan Davidson here. He's on our team and he's done a lot of work. He's behind us too. And kudos also to Sam Coonan, who was Alan Coonan's grandson that was an intern for us, actually started some initial work and did some great job for us there as well. And Jess Vintner, who might be online watching, has been a great help as well. The background, this was put together by the 2024 legislative session, and the working group we put together in August of 2024, and we met every month until last November, I believe, when we made this report. So every month we did meet, basically this is the working group. There's a lot of people in and out of this group, but again, you can see it was very diverse, but a lot of great input from people that have experience in international realms, as well as from basically the National Guard was very helpful with their partner program and how they operate things there, as well as the council, Vermont Council on World Affairs, where this is what they do on a day-to-day basis, to the Arts Council. Obviously we went through, at least for Ron O, and which is a sister city programs that we have. She's with the Burlington. So overall, we decided how we were going to move forward with creating the process and what kind of information we can get to determine what a sister state program can look like. And I think the easiest one was for us to look at other states. Now, the Peter Lynch, some might be familiar with, he was the executive director of Green Across the World, and he's kind of really he was the impetus behind this from the beginning, because he runs this we have one sister state currently with the prefecture of Tottori. And I think that was all started because there was a student exchange program in the Burlington area that's been going over there quite a bit and working together quite a bit. And I actually attend a lot of their student meetings once in a while, and we send them gifts baskets from Vermont. And I believe they've been here twice visiting Vermont. So that we now have this like long-term relationship, and it's working. But we looked at other ones. There was another sister state with Karelia in Russia, which obviously stopped after they invaded Ukraine. But it really was defunct years ago, and it was started in the early 90s. And it was basically almost a one-way sister state. We were helping them with, I think, judicial process. And it was a pet project of someone, but it lasted a few years. But other than that, we do not have any other official sister state. Official, like governor signs off, executive relationships. I believe that we have some relationships with Taiwan, which I think we have a reciprocal license, which I think came out of this committee, but not an official sister state program. We have the state partnership program with the National Guard, which they have North Macedonia, Senegal, and Austria. That's not a true sister state program, but we do have that tie. So we decided to go look at some states. Maryland has the most, and found out that Maryland said, don't have as many as us. And basically, They said it's, because they're so close to Washington DC, a lot of delegations will go there and then someone will sign an MOU. But after a while, they weren't even like looking at what kind of quality exists in these relationships and what is both parties getting out of it. Then we talked to Hawaii, which is a very strong program. We utilized their application a lot to create our application. They were asking the really good questions like, who's going to be there to keep this relationship going when it's not government to government? What are all the ramifications economically, culturally? And then, what kind of exchange? And it has to be on both sides. It can't just be a one-way street. So I think that was something that we utilized a lot was what Hawaii did. We did find that a lot of these states, diaspora, that really is the catalyst behind a lot of these sister state programs. Like say in Hawaii, there's a large Japanese American population, and therefore they're the ones kind of like non-governmental group that's working to keep the relationship going with that prefecture or region of Japan that they created a program with. So there's this cultural, and then other parts have been exchange groups. Artists has been a very big tie between people. Sometimes it's economy. We found in Iowa has a lot of MOUs with regions of China, and it's all basically about the fact that they purchase a lot of soybeans and commodities from that. So overall, we really looked at all the different relationships and tried to how can we put together a quality program? I think overall, our recommendation, and I believe that there's a draft bill that might be proposed here, right? That's, I think, there it is. That basically, we think it's a very good program where someone would apply here, that we're proposing a selection committee put together, almost comprised of the same group of people, that we can do the administrative piece up at ACCD, at DED, at Department of Economic Development. And we also can go and work with other departments to vet these applications, but also put them together, organize it, and then organize the group to actually see if this is something to move forward. And obviously basically creating scoring criteria on the application of why this would be a good thing to actually commit to it. So I think that's the big thing. It's a commitment. And then once you do that, how do you keep it strong? And then do you evaluate it down the road to see if this is still a strong relationship? And I think that's what Maryland was saying. They had these and it falls off. You need to every 5 years do review or so, or to make sure that these are still continuing relationships. Basically, I mean, that's it. What the importance of a sister state relationship has so many levels. And then the question is, does it need to be a sister state? I think that's another one. Do we need to make someone a sister state, or can it remain school to school? Can it remain? So it's bringing up to that level is great. So I love seeing Paige. My daughter was a Page. Yeah, so I mean, I don't have any questions. Obviously there was so much to it. I think we did a really thorough job of putting it all together. We did submit the report, which I think is, and thanks to Nathan, did a lot of did the lion's share of work on pulling that all together. So we appreciate that. But basically, we just want to establish a formal internal review process about the sister state, and I think it's a great way to go down the road. I mean, really vet this program and make sure that it's going to be a quality program for Vermont. And for the whomever, like for me, I think on personal, I think we have this relationship with a region in Austria, and encourage them to apply. I think we have a lot of similarities. We have economic, cultural, so many different reasons why we could do that. But at least let's go put it through application and see is this something that it would be a worthwhile relationship for us to enter. So put it in a nutshell. So.
A few years ago, the Austrian ambassador was in Vermont.
Yeah, Ambassador Schneebauer, yeah. And I'm going there in a few weeks to do a foreign direct investment recruitment with the U.S. Commercial Services arrange for companies over there. But we went a few years ago as well. But so many things. For one thing is almost all of our biomass wood heat furnaces and boilers are made in Austria. All of them. not most all of them, they all are. And so, and here we are such a great user of it and proponent of it. Why not? Let's convince them, maybe we can get some components made here, manufactured here in Vermont. Those kind of, like, let's work on those relationships, like with such the similarities, can help us both, benefit us both.
Question? Are you on the task force?
I did serve on the task force, so I spent a day a month with Tim for the last 18 months, which was fun. What I will say is, at the beginning, there was a lot of question from the group as to whether we needed it, because we have so many nonprofits in the state that are. And about halfway through, everybody was like, well, wait, it does make sense to do this, because then there's an official channel and there's a way for these states to have a real tie. And it's not so tenuous as to whether this nonprofit has a relationship. It was a little bit, almost not exactly a turf war, but a little bit of a turf war where it's like, well, this is my group. And then they're like, but wait, my group could get a better benefit by being part of this. And we can actually deepen this relationship. And it might be, a relationship based in education, and we can add the arts and we can add the economic development. And so folks started looking at it as additive rather than as something that they needed to protect. And I thought that was it's the kind of thing that happens when you have the time to have conversations with people and develop them and really, deepen everyone's understanding of what is possible. So I really appreciated that aspect of it. And the National Guard was, my gosh, like the biggest champion of this from the beginning. I think they were very much in the how do we deepen the relationships that we've had, because we have good relationships and we see the benefit from them every single day. And so how do we do that for the state? Because it works with the Guard, it works, we train them, they train us, we get, the Guard folks get all kinds of benefit from it. And why would we limit that just to the Guard? Why wouldn't we have that benefit available to the state from the different regions of the state? And so I really appreciated that, right? People were skeptical and then they were not anymore. And it was a neat transition and transformation.
And then on the other hand too, is sometimes there's a lot of people out there that will put pressure on the state to join a sister state for their own political reasons or justifications. And so now there's a process where we can have a very vetted, thoughtful response. Is a good thing too, right? So.
Yeah, I think it's great. And in the report, it's very clearly well thought out, and
Yeah, we didn't think there's gonna be much controversy here with us. That's hopefully. Yeah, so we're excited about it. And like I said, I think we're excited about it even in D&D. I think it is a great way to move forward with these relationships. And right, we can even talk to, it can be region to region too, and that's what, it doesn't have to be our state. Like we can actually say convince the Northeast Kingdom region to have sister state relationship with the Eastern Townships and formalize it, but maybe using this process to help them create that. It doesn't have to be that kind of thing, right? So, and at least it formalizes something. I think that's what it does. It formalizes it and it kind of creates us. Now we got to play together.
I also think for the nonprofit organizations that are involved in this work, it gives them a little bit more of a plate underneath the work that they do. So it'll give them, something that they can bounce off, especially if they're looking for things like funding. They know that, the state is involved and they're working hand in hand. I think that would be helpful and beneficial overall.
Right, strengthens it for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Questions for Ken? As Edie said, she has the bill, so.
Anybody that wants to co-sponsor, I'm happy to send it around. It's almost the report word for word into it.
We'll get that in, and as soon as it's read for the first time, we'll put it on the agenda and see if we can get it out of here.
Just one question. In addition to the sister state programs that we have mentioned here, were there other ones that you kind of had particular eye on, or is just sort of get this in place and see how it goes and recruit from
You mean
there?
other states?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I think everyone did it so differently, right? Like Hawaii, I think.
Oh, no, not the states, actually, if there are other like international communities and states and international partners that you had any particular eye on.
Well, Senegal would have been a great one, but now it's kind of, there's issues there now, so. I think there was, like, if that was a place in, Western, Africa, that would be a place. But again, I mean, that just because I think we had that partnership program with, the Guard there, I think that there, yeah. And then what's neat about the Guard, usually talking the other states, the Guard, their partnership programs are so military to military that they were actually blown away that our military has actually moved on to culture and economics. And actually was trying to raise up those sectors in those partner countries and actually inviting, a few years ago, they brought Secretary Tebbets and Secretary Curley to North Macedonia. And it was all about economy and tourism and ag. I mean, that's unique that there's the military's helping make that happen. So it's just a.
One of the features of the program as we've developed it, though, is that it's not on Tim's shoulders to go and find places for us to partner with, right? There has to be someone in the state, a group that wants to sponsor it and that wants to take on that role. It's Tim's job to vet it and make sure that it's a good partner for, world, I don't know, all the different issues, the risks, right? What are the risks associated with it? What are the benefits associated with it? And the committee to do that too. But it's, this doesn't add a big burden to the agency because you have to have somebody locally who wants to foster that relationship and build it and grow it.
And I think a lot of times and when it comes to other states, the money came up all the time. Funding came up all the time. And it really did come from mostly private groups. There really was not so many governments putting money into the relationships, but knowing that there is a cost of diplomacy, right? If someone comes over and they're visiting and there's some kind of function, someone has to organize, someone has to pay. I mean, and usually that's another reality that someone needs to be aware of, that there's a cost to it. So.
Which ties back to our convention center conversation yesterday, right? If we're gonna host events, if we're gonna have different things like that, it would be nice to have more opportunities and places to do that. Not sure how big this will ever get or how big any delegation will ever be, but thinking about that, right? Everybody who has sister state programs, everyone who's doing it well has events that people come in and travel to your place when it's working well.
Anything else?
Good work.
Thank you to the committee. Thank you. There's the committee and Nathan over there too. No, it was a true work group. Really was. So thank you.
As soon as we have the bill out, then we'll invite you back in for testimony.
I could share a quick anecdote. The keyboardist at our church in Fairhaven is Army National Guard and in the band, and they've played in Austria as the National Guard band. They're getting ready to go again in the next few months. So part of that time.
Well, thank you all.
Thank you for all your work. Nathan, thank you so much.
Thanks for your power.